This is an open message to the critics of Occupy Wall Street from a college-educated, employed, 50-year-old middle-class mother of 2 young children. Since September 30th, I have spent a lot of time on the Facebook page of Occupy Wall Street hoping to learn why some U.S. citizens, who were not already homeless, would want to set up tents and sleep in the streets near Wall Street for an indefinite amount of time. I wanted to know why they came together, and what message they were hoping to convey. I learned almost immediately that they are all deeply concerned about a global economy on the brink of collapse, and whether our planet can continue to sustain itself with the current systems created by many decades of political and economic decisions. As a mother of 2 young children, and a middle-class American who has worked since I was 16 years old trying to achieve the American dream myself, I could find no reason whatsoever to refute their deep concerns. Of course, the signs are everywhere around all of us. There's smart discussion by the group about why the problems arose in the first place, and how, or if, they can be addressed at all. But what I now notice is a growing number of Americans, and even the mainstream press, who are attempting to discredit these protesters with simple-minded criticism and hate-filled, irrelevant comments. Of course, one of the most misleading assertions is that movement only consists of a bunch of dirty hippies who simply want a government handout. While there may be individuals who do not conform to the corporate, mainstream media picture of what an American should look like, I have now seen with my own eyes at an Occupy march that this movement is actually supported by people of all ages, races, and socio-economic backgrounds. So after critics dismiss the group as all hippies, the next step is to say that they all need to get a job, which is frankly hilarious and completely out of touch with the current economic reality. But by far the most often repeated criticism is that those in the protest movement should quit asking for help and take responsibility for their own lives. Well, that is a very interesting point, because that is exactly what I tell my 2 young children every single day. And that is exactly what my parents also told me every day as I grew up in the 1960s and 70s. I worked my way through college and with diligence and hard work ended up with a number of decent paying jobs in the media industry. Well, that is, until about 15 years ago, when I started to notice that my salary was completely stagnating. I didn't worry, because I didn't need much. I kept my expenses low, never lived beyond my means. Paid off my credit card every month, and with my husband put quite a bit of money away into investment accounts and plans run by so-called trusted brokerage houses, which are now worth about half of what they were 10 years ago. I will probably never be able to retire. But that is irrelevant right now. What I want to say to the critics who raise the question of responsibility is more important in this moment. You see, as a mother, I just no longer feel I have any credibility when demanding that my children play fair and receive consequences for their bad behavior, bad decisions, and immoral actions. Why? Because over the past decades, bank owners, corporate owners, CEOs, top-level managers, and also the super-wealthy American legacy families who built their wealth on the backs and calluses of millions of immigrants, have used their power and our dollars to create banking and mortgage systems that have ultimately benefited very few but themselves. They created the environment for hedge fund operators that do nothing tangible themselves for a living except trade on speculation, fear, and greed. They have simultaneously encouraged average income earning Americans to invest in their markets, knowing full well that they would benefit from the use of huge amounts of money, and leave those who are too busy working and taking care of their families to cash out quickly in times of economic upheaval and collapse. They have bought all of our media outlets in order to only allow us to hear only the messages they want heard. They have forced their idea of never-ending consumerism down our throats with the help of lapdog creatives on Madison Avenue. Yes, of course we bought all their stuff. We have all been told we had to in order to fit in. They have monopolized our agriculture and food industries, leaving us with not much more than aisles of junk food in our markets. But I'm afraid that most egregiously of all, they have also bought our congressmen by lining their pockets to win elections. They own them outright, and therefore they own our political system, including the policies that are gutting our health care, our social security, and most importantly our public education. They own our politics, and really, they now even own our votes. A lot is being made of the slogan 1% and 99%. But my compass tells me that this movement is really not as much about money and who is entitled to it, as it is about morals and ethics. The real question is this: as Americans, do we want to have a democracy where the code of responsibility for the 99% is far different than the code of responsibility for the 1%? Do we accept that? Also, what do we really want our society to mirror back to us? Can you really look deep into your own heart and soul and ask if we want a country where each man is on his own? Whoever got there first is the winner take all. Whatever company owners want to do with their capital is just fine, even though thousands of workers helped gain the profits. Who cares what happens to our planet and its resources? We no longer care about our old and wise seniors. We no longer feel any responsibility to our kids, and especially to each other? I guess not. Neither do they? Those in power have spent a lot of time, money, and energy keeping all of us divided. They have provided us with endless empty television shows that put us to sleep and keep us thinking about trivial matters, or they give us stupid political shows that pit one so-called expert against another so that we think our only choices are black or white. If we are divided, then we have no power against their small minority. As a woman, and as a mother, I urgently call on other parents, women and men alike, to understand that we are at a crossroads. But we need to look into our children's eyes, and then, into our own hearts, and let's put aside the petty partisan ideas that keep us behaving just like our Congress. Anyway, I care about this country. Not because I can get rich here. And I care about the people in it. All of them. And I definitely care about my children and other children who I am worried will have a blighted, plastic, cultureless future. As those who don't take any responsibility run off to their fancy houses located in the places on earth they haven't yet ruined. You might not believe I am a real mom. But unfortunately we live in a time when those who speak out are considered unpatriotic, and I am not willing to reveal my true identity. They also created that. But I am really who I say I am. That is why I will take my responsibility and join Occupy Wall Street. I am the 99.